Welcome to another exciting edition to GroveCityHockey Presents
Hockey in our neck of the woods, and you, sir, were a very talked about person towards the end.
I'm a fifth-year senior, kind of. Well, it's my sixth year of college. Incredible.
Hey guys, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cutshield, for bringing you this episode. Make sure you check them out on the link below and use the promo code for 25% off your order. Used by all 32 NHL teams and players, Cutshield is the premier protective player clothing designed by players for players. Their innovative cut-resistant clothing has prevented serious injury to numerous players, including over 30 NHL players. Cutshield gives you the peace of mind to go out and play without worrying about injury. Use our promo code GroveCityHockey, all lowercase and no space, for an additional 25% off your order today. Welcome to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, and with me is a very special guest. Always a pleasure, Mike Farinelli. Mike, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, Ben. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, buddy. And so we're here because you've got a new endeavor, with the Michigan Fury. You're the general manager. The Michigan Fury plays in the PIHA League, which is the Professional Inline Hockey Association. Tell us a little bit about how that came about and how your season is going, because you guys are off to a pretty flying start.
We are doing well. Let's answer the first question. So how it came about, I would say it was early this year, and it's pretty predominantly MIHA dominated around here. And we always, I know in the last podcast that we talk about how much talent we have in our Tuesday leagues and all the talent around. At this point, really, you're seeing players from Team USA that are from Michigan, multiple, not just one or two. You're also seeing the same thing with multiple pro teams that are winning multiple wins in each year. And I'm just sitting there going, okay, there has got to be something besides State Wars, Narch, Tours, let's call it the local pro tournaments, Wish Cup, things like that, that can be a higher level, but not conflict with a lot of those things that those players look forward to. And it got brought up PIHA, and obviously you and I go way back before PIHA. We're talking AIHL and MLRH days. And when it came back up, I'm like, oh my God, it's been 15 years and we're really actually considering this again. But doing a lot of research and speaking with Anthony Flynn, who's been a huge helper in my decision to join the PIHA, has been nothing more than professional, extremely helpful. And that ultimately was what tilted me to go, okay, you know what? We actually need to invest some time and some money into this and figure out if this would be a good fit for the players around here. So, obviously I reached out to many of the players here. Is this something you'd be interested in? For them, it's a blind thing too. Many of the players that are on the Fury right now did not play PIHA 15 years ago, maybe two or three of them, but not all of them. So they took a leap of faith for me, and I really appreciate that as well. And I really have to give a lot of shout out to Chucky Robinson, who really has been the driving force of putting these guys together, making sure that they're all coordinated where they need to go, making sure the money is paid, make sure you're here. He's done a great job leading the team. And then to answer your second question, we are off to a great start. We have gone 9-2 overall in the pro division. We've got 8 games left in the regular season. The main goal is to finish top 4 so we can get to the conference finals in Marple. And if we can take that down, we're off to Colorado and the Xfinity. God, I don't remember the second name of it, but it's the Xfinity Center. Colorado Springs. That much I do know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys, you've played, like you said, 12 games so far, 9-0-0, so it's overtime win, regulation. No, what is it? 0-0. I just looked it up.
We've lost in overtime, and then we've lost straight up. I think we're 9 wins, 1 overtime loss, and
shootout.
2 losses.
So how they have it set up is they have a regulation win, which is you're 9-0. So you guys won all your games in regulation. Overtime win, shootout win, loss, and then overtime. So
We lost in overtime. PIHA has one of the more unique overtime setups. What they end up doing is if you're tied at the end of regulation, you go 4-on-4 for 4. Excuse me. Yes. 3-on-3 for 4 minutes.
Okay.
If no one scores, you go 2-on-2 for 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And then if no one scores on that, you go to a shootout.
Wow. That makes for interesting hockey, especially when it's when you're used to 4-on-4, dropping down to 3-on-3 and then 2-on-2. That's crazy.
It's definitely I know a lot of people that have. What do you think about it? And mixed feelings on it. I know that this has actually been tried before. Tours Nationals actually did this for a little while. And my only experience, which was not pro, it was in one of the random adult divisions at a JCC tournament, was, okay, I can't outrun that guy and I'm behind the net. And my forward that's with me, 2-on-2, can't outrun that guy. I'm not moving. I'm not going anywhere because if I make a single mistake, I'm going to lose the game. So I never was a big fan of it. But watching the pros, I finally got a chance to see it in Marble this weekend. It is pretty exciting. It is very quick. It is very back and forth, and there's tons of chances. And I understand why they do it.
Yeah, and on top of that, you get to see a lot of members from Team USA playing. You have one on your team with Corey Hodge, but you also have a lot of pro guys, guys on the team that played with Cutshield. I don't think I see anybody from the Rage Cats on the team.
No, we don't have anybody on the Rage Cats. The Rage Cats really are more focused on the actual Summer Nationals. Obviously, they have a lot of really talented players, and I think they would really enjoy something like this. If this is something where, again, when I mentioned why PIHA might be a good fit, it's really cool to know that, okay, we're going to start in September. You're going to be, even if you go the whole distance all the way, you're done by the middle of March. So if you still, you know what, Mike, we'll play Fury, but at the end of the day, we're still Cutshield, right? You could do that. And so it wouldn't surprise me to start seeing some of the Rage Cats or maybe even the Rage Cats themselves jump into this at some point.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I'm a big fan of their style of game and their play. They did a phenomenal job at, I believe it was Tours, and then they did one other at the Palma Pro. They did fairly well as well.
Yes, they did.
So I'm excited to watch those guys play, but I'm also excited to watch the Cutshield boys. You picked up another goaltender. It seems like you have 4 goaltenders on the roster right now.
We are doing the in many of these leagues, including MIHA, even leagues at FHL, there's qualification rules. You have to have so many games to get to the conference final. And so since there's only 4 weekends, it's pretty important, and we'll go into scheduling a little bit. It's pretty important you qualify enough people to get the long distance. And so we ran into a situation where we had John Manana lined up for the second goalie. He unfortunately last second couldn't make it. So Yasu was available and wanted to come down. And the truth is, this is, again, credit to Chucky Robinson. I don't know who this person is, but he ended up playing a game. He was absolutely lights out. He was a very good goalie. And now he wants to come on board for the rest of the season, which gives us the second qualified goalie. So,
that's awesome.
Do we have 4 goalies? Yes. Do I think 2 of them are primarily traveling? Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's great to see because the talent base in Michigan is so deep. It's so thick. You could probably get maybe even another team out of all of the players that you have playing in your area. So I mean, like I said, it's incredible to see. Tell us a little bit about the roster rules because I know that you can't have too many. I think there was like a cap on national team players was like at 2 per team or something like that.
So they have what is called tagged players, and you can find it on their website. And how they balance the pro division, because at one point you could, theoretically, if it's pro and there's no roster rules, you could just put the entire Team USA team together. And I don't care how good you are, you're just never going to be able to compete with calibers such as that, in my opinion, especially if you don't have a bunch of Cutshield players or Skittles or Rage Cats or you get the idea. But X amount of players that have world tags, meaning they've played in the worlds, and there's, again, if you go look on their website, there's a whole list, and the same boat as they have national pro tag players. So the PIHA is actively watching who is playing Tours, Narch, State Wars, and they tally everybody that's actually playing pro, and that's how you have your roster rules. So, for example, for us, we have Garrett Ross on our roster, and then we have, why can't I find him? Corey Hodge. So those 2 are our 2 Worlds players. We cannot pick up anybody else that's been tagged as Worlds.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and that makes it a competitive balance because I see like the Few has a couple But then you have the Suffolk Sting. They have a couple, but then you also have their second. I don't know how do you even pronounce the other team? The Mauritius
Moriark, I think.
Moriark.
Yeah, Mauritius. I don't know. That's a Flynn question, not a me question. I'm still the new guy in town.
New to me, but the two Stings. They have. And then of course you had Chaos, which had Shivo, Kraft, and then Kraft's wife was on that team. So you had your two national team players. Now I don't know if it's two men's team players, and you could probably get a women's national team player on the same roster. I'm not sure on that, but that's kind of
can't answer that question for you either. But it was fun watching them play. They're a great team that we're talking about a lot of travel for us. They're coming from Florida, so every single place they go, they fly. So I was sitting there going, man, some of our guys are making a 10-hour drive. They're not flying to every weekend, so you know what? It could be worse.
Right. Well, and not only that, but you got Shivo. He's flying from, I think he's in Minnesota.
I think so.
Right now. Yeah. Crafty and his wife are coming up from Florida, but they're a West Coast team, which I think is crazy. So they're flying out west to play teams and stuff like that. So that makes it really interesting. But yeah, so you got one more event coming up, right? Or two
we've
more?
We've got two. We've got to go to Pittsburgh on December 14th. We will be playing the Marple Gladiators and the Few in a 4-game set there. And then the final event is actually back at Fraser Hockey. And what we'll be doing here is the 4 games against Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah, because I was curious about the scheduling aspect of that, because I'm like, wow, you're playing the Sting like 3 times. You're playing the secondary Sting 3 times, and then you played one of the other teams. And I didn't even know Pittsburgh was even there, to be honest with you, and until I started looking at the schedule. And I was like, why didn't they play the Inferno while they were set up there and do like a 2-2 and 2-2?
I can actually answer that. So, and again, this is where, when we're talking about you go to MIHA, or things that we're familiar with, right? You have your regular round robins, you play whoever happens to be at that tournament. Congratulations. That's your weekend, right? This is more of a league where it's important that you play each other the same amount of times. Had we have played the Inferno, let's say even Marple last weekend, had we have played them there, that would have meant that another East Coast team would have had to come all the way to us again. So what they did is they switched the schedule on and said, listen, Fury and Inferno, you guys are the closest teams to each other compared to Michigan and Pittsburgh. You get the idea, right? Yeah. So rather than have you guys run around and play each other multiple times in different locations, we're just going to do it one time. And then when Michigan does travel all the way to Philly, then they can play the teams that are out by Philly.
Right. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah. And again, now, mind you, it is, if I'm being brutally honest, it is a little weird that, when Pittsburgh does come here, we're literally playing the same team 4 times in a row. That is strange. Although, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, that may end up being pretty interesting because the Inferno are playing very well right now. Yes. And those 4 games are going to have some pretty big consequences for the conference final.
Yeah, it's almost basically like a playoff series.
A little bit.
Or even just like a best of type series, even though you're going to play the 4 games regardless. So it'll be really interesting to see. They're also, I think they're 7-0 or 7-1 in something. They only have like 3 losses.
Yeah, they're only 4 points behind us. They very well are within striking distance. Same amount of games, which is why, again, they're going to end up going to Pittsburgh. They won't be playing us, which means they very well could have 3 more wins under their belt or 4. And if we do the same thing, it's pretty simple. Those 4 games at Fraser are going to be pretty determinant of who stays on top.
Yeah, and it makes for crazy inline hockey, especially at the final weekend coming in. So that's going to be kind of cool. Now, I noticed that they don't have any real, I don't want to say broadcasting events of it. I guess you can watch it on Live Barn is your best option.
Nope, you're 100% right on that. I don't think they have any actual broadcasting. Ben, when we talked about like back in the day, 15 years ago, right, when things were very different, I want to say it was mandatory that you had to tape all your games to send to the league. For some reason, that rings a bell to me. I think the majority of rinks have Live Barn. Obviously, we do. Marple Sports has Live Barn. I'm not sure. I'm sure Marysville most likely has it. So it's there, but there is no actual broadcast with commentary or multiple Zoom angles, at least not during the regular season. And again, I'm the new guy on the block, so if anybody from PIHA is listening to this and I'm wrong, I am sorry. I do know that when you get to Colorado, it is a full-blown experience. We are talking the spotlight, the fireworks, the lineups, the national anthem. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah. And if you need anybody to call the games, give me a call.
You got it.
So, but yeah, I'm excited to see how this turns out. You guys, you guys got a couple tournaments left. Very big games coming up. I wish you guys nothing but the best. So tell us a little bit about your team, because you've got, from what I've seen, you guys got some studs on your roster.
We do. We are very lucky to be where we are right now with our roster, quite frankly. I mean, things have, I'm backtracking, going on a complete tangent right now. When you travel 10 hours away from you, especially in a league with this type of talent, I remember telling myself, watching that first game when they came to Fraser, and I'm watching this thing get on the floor, and there's just like, holy crap, there is literally 4 people on Team USA that's on the floor right now. Mm-hmm. So when you lose a player like that doesn't make a trip, that is extremely devastating. And then it goes the other way, right? The Sting traveled really well to us, along with actually all the teams that came to Fraser, which means when we go to Marple, they're going to have players that we didn't see, and they're going to be stronger. And that's exactly what happened, right? Halverson showed up for that set of games, and that changed everything for that game for us. They played extremely well. They handed us our loss. But our roster is strong. When we have everybody there, which so far has gone extremely well, we could hang with them. And that's the part that we like about it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people might take you guys a little for granted because they don't know anything about you guys. They're not seeing. They're seeing some of you guys with the car shield, but they're not seeing some of these younger players that are up and coming that that aren't even really on the radar for some of these other teams because they're playing up in a different division than some of these other kids, which I think is great for you guys.
No, I would agree with that 100%. You especially again at this. I'm trying not to compare this and MIHA, but you are not looking at potentially 3 to 4, maybe 5 games. You're guaranteed your amount of games. So I know going into Marple, we had 6 games. So yeah, you could have your 5 car shield guys and Chucky's and Ned, obviously a pro goaltender there. Like you're good, but we only had 8 and a goalie, and that was tough for 6 games at that level. So we like to run 10, 12 would be ideal. But at this point, we're trying to qualify so we can get to the conference finals when that gets Colorado. Yeah,
that's awesome. And now, and then I probably shouldn't bring this up. But with Haji heading back to Italy at the beginning of the year, how are you gonna have to try to find a way to replace him? Is Garrett Ross coming back for that second half?
I can't answer that because I unfortunately don't know the answer to that. Obviously, if Corey wants to stay home and wants to continue playing, no kidding. Of course, he's going to be playing. Currently leading the entire pro division in points and goals. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be a big loss if we lost him. But at the same time, as much as I'm really excited that we have him, I'm about the players. It is pretty crappy what happened to him overseas. The fact that he traveled all the way over there, and because of a technicality, he couldn't play. Like that sucks. I just wish that wouldn't happen to anybody.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we had that conversation on the pod that just dropped the other day. I mean, he was just like, I got over there, and they just said that they couldn't establish my residency, and he's like, what do you mean I can't establish my residency? So, well, man, but yeah, I mean, but it's also good though for your team because you're able to plug in. You have that next man stepping up mentality, so it's like, hey, if one goes down, you got somebody there that can take down that load and produce, so I think I don't think you have anything to worry about there because
I agree with you. I think we have a very complete team across the board, right? We do have some forwards that are absolutely phenomenal. Our D is extremely solid and our goaltending is solid. I mean, we feel like a complete unit, and that's why we're having fun with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about that. Who's on the team, and what you can expect from those guys moving forward.
I mean, it's a big roster, but I will tell you that there's, again, there are your star, what you're used to seeing, right? When you're talking about pro, you're going to get, let's just go through the list, right? You obviously have Jess Hackett, Schwartz, Hodge, Sidlowski, O'Shaughnessy, Robinson, all of these players have played pro at the highest level in most of roller hockey, right? And having those guys are invaluable. It's awesome to have veterancy on the team. That will help the other pros that are also playing get in line and really run the team, get things going, right? But then you also have some veterans from back in the day. Mike Dieberbander is currently on the team. Tyler Blaskowski was a bit of Blood and Feathers for the last year and maybe two. I know Matt Reno had a stint with Ringster. Adam Swims, Lindenwood player, is coming back and is trying to get back into the higher level pro scene, which is awesome to see. Mr. Lochner is one of the newer guys that is on our team right now, and he has actually been a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to get to play with, especially at Marple. It's funny, they put O'Shaughnessy and him on the line with the mustache line, and the amount of nicknames that were flying around were a good day with that one. Schultz and Spolinski had been around forever. It was a no-brainer to pick those two up. Again, you're talking about depth, people that have not only played PIHA before, but have played this game for just as long as I've been around with it. Josh Ward is another new pickup who plays on Tuesdays here, who absolutely had a lights out first weekend. I'm excited to see him get back to Pittsburgh and see what he continues to do. And then obviously our goaltenders, Chucky is our leader, and he's the guy, again, I can't stress enough that how much work he's put into this to really make this an opportunity, not just for myself, but for all of the players on the team. Daniel Collins, who had a stint with the Detroit Pro Border Cats 1 year over at State Wars. Yasu, again, was a great pickup last minute, and we're waiting for Venata to eventually join us at some point.
Yeah, that's awesome. And let's not forget that Swims also played overseas as well with
Yes, he
Haji.
did.
So he's definitely no stranger to high level competition. So again, man, this roster is stacked and loaded. You guys are feeling really good. I hope you guys don't take the foot off the pedal, and I hope you guys are able to continue to keep moving forward and bring home a national championship.
That's the goal.
So awesome. Well, Mike Farinelli, I'm Ben W. Stock. That's going to do it for this episode. I cannot thank you for taking the time to chit chat with us about the Michigan Fury and your role as the general manager.
Thank you very much.
That's going to do it for this episode of GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, alongside Chris Greco. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure you like and subscribe on all our platforms on YouTube and on Spotify. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Cheers.